Hey everybody, Spider here once again, coming soon podcast, San Antonio, Texas, coming to you from inside Wonderland of the Americas with none other than Jeffrey Reddick, of course, writer, director, producer. My man, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you doing, Mario?
Man, I'm doing great. When they announced this event, I was looking forward to it only because I think you owe me for past traumatic doctor visits, man. I mean, this film that you wrote, of course, I mean, when you wrote it, were you thinking, okay, this is going to be a hit? Of course, I'm talking about Final Destination.
Yeah, you know, when I wrote the original draft for the script, I did think it would take off as long as it was done right. James Wong and Glenn Morgan, who worked on the X-Files, wrote the shooting script, and they came up with the whole Rube Goldberg aspect of it. My original draft was very influenced by Nightmare on Elm Street, but I worked at the studio when they put it out, and we saw most movies drop 50% after opening weekend, and we kind of saw internally like that it was like going up every day. So by the second weekend, it actually was doing better than the first weekend. So we knew at that point like we had a word of mouth hit, which is like amazing.
No, and of course, I mean, the movie itself, like I said, I mean, it's everyday things that I'm sure happen to people quite a bit. I mean, when it's an accidental death. Now, of course, you wrote this. I think you were influenced by something you saw on the news with a mom calling the daughter.
Yeah, the idea came from when I was flying home to visit my family in Kentucky, and I read an article about a woman whose mother called her and said, don't take the flight that you're on. She was on vacation, and her mom said, don't take the flight you're on tomorrow. I have a bad feeling about it. And so she switched flights, and then she found out the plane that she was supposed to be on crashed. So I read that on a plane, and I was like, that's interesting. And then the more I thought about it, I was like, oh, you know, she could have died. And then it turned into, what if she was supposed to die? What if death came after her?
No, for sure, man. Because I mean, throughout life, myself, you know, I've had a lot of deja vu incidents where I'm kind of walking somewhere and I'm like, dude, okay, I've been here. And
me too. That's happened to me too. Yeah.
You see, and I was gonna ask, what's your take on that? Because I've heard stories. One of them that always sticks with me is somebody saying that's us going through time portals and always going and showing up somewhere else at a different time, different dimension. So, what are your thoughts on deja vu?
You know what? I've never delved into it deep enough to like really, like I do, like again, I've had deja vu. I've had like one example, like I was in New York and one day I decided to go to a different place for lunch to try it out, and right before I walked around the corner, like a friend popped into my head from like high school, and when I went around the corner, like we bumped into each other.
Wow.
And so stuff like that, like definitely lets me know that like we're all connected in some kind of mystical way. But you know, growing up, I always tried to have telekinesis, and I never got to, never could move anything with my mind. So.
Not there yet, huh?
Not there yet. I gotta. Yeah.
No. And of course, man, I mean, Final Destination, but you've worked on tons of projects as a writer. I mean, is there one that sticks out that you that's your favorite, let me say?
I mean, you know, obviously I'm hugely proud of Final Destination. You know, I love the second one is probably my favorite because I got to, with this story, I got to do a lot of stuff that I like when I watch sequels.
Yeah.
But outside of that, I mean, I hate, you know, you learn to love all of your films.
Right.
You know, as a writer, when you give it off to somebody, you don't really have a lot of control on how it turns out. But Tamara is probably my second, you know, after the Final Destination films. I love Tamara, but I also, you know, love Dead Awake. Day of the Dead. I wish it wasn't called Day of the Dead, like it wasn't a remake, because it started off being a true remake, but then as I was developing it, after I got hired, they kind of made me start taking it further and further away. But when I watched that movie as a standalone, like zombie movie, you know, it's great, and it's got a great cast, and I love everybody in that. And some of the recent stuff I've worked on, like the Final Wish, I enjoy. I worked on a couple of animated cartoons for Netflix during COVID.
Yes.
So one of them got nominated, Tale Dark and Grim got nominated for like a kids animation Emmy. So that was fun. Like, people still died, but kid-friendly deaths. So it wasn't.
Is there such a thing? I mean, because it's in cartoon format, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, but it wasn't like, it wasn't anybody running around murdering the kids. It was just like dark fairy tales. You know,
Right.
so fairy tales have always been a little dark, but we lightened them up, but still had the, you know, made it kid friendly, so you could watch it with your family. So it's been fun just to like try out different genres, and but horror is, you know, really the thing I love. And you know, there's a film I produced that just showed at DIF last night in Dallas. So I'm in San Antonio, so I couldn't get down there to see it.
Cool,
But
man.
yeah, it's called The Other, and it's coming out. Quiver is releasing it.
Nice.
And it's coming out in a couple months. And
sweet.
yeah, really excited about that. And yeah, just got some new stuff I'm working on. But you know, in this business, until you get the green light on something, you never know if it's going to happen. So I just tell people to like kind of follow me on social media, and I update. And then also if I see films I love, I'm like, check this out. This is a great movie. So
No, and of course, social media, because of course, myself, I've been networking since the 90s. So I used to write letters. I used to wait 2-3 months for bands or whoever to send them back, you know. So now with social media, I mean, it's like literally a click of a button, man.
Yeah,
so,
it's crazy.
You know, it's a lot of, I always tell people it's a lot easier, but at the same time, it's harder because there's so much stuff going on that you kind of miss the first 10 things, and then you catch the next one. And it's just,
no, and especially with all the different, now everybody's using so much. I mean, I grew up, you know, starting on Facebook, and then all of a sudden, you know, MySpace. I started with MySpace, and then it was Facebook, and then Twitter. Now it's X, and then it's like Instagram, and it's Snapchat now. And I know, you know, it's different demographics.
I haven't gone past Instagram. I have TikTok, but I only have it for like I drop movie trailer reviews on that one. But it's just something to plug in and keep going. But the first time I got on TikTok, I was like, damn, that's what's wrong with the world, because it's like the attention span was quick. Like I was like, man, people don't have time to listen and watch, you know. So
and it's interesting because you know, like it seems like younger kids are on like TikTok and Snapchat and whatever else is out there. Older people are still on Facebook, and then you know, everybody else is on X. You know, like the news media, the politicians, celebrities. So it's like everything seems to come from X, but it's like Facebook is such a bigger user, you know, as far as active user base. But yeah, it's hard to keep up with all that stuff. So I try to get on them, but then I just get busy with work, and then I forget to check, or you know, I'll have a break, and I'll like try to get through as much as I can.
Post everything at once. They're like, okay, this is what I've been going through. Now let me ask you, because of course you mentioned the movie that's actually screening in Dallas. Any other projects other than that right now?
That one, I produced a film called New Fear's Eve. That we shot in Kentucky, a local indie film, and we're talking to distributors right now. So pretty soon, you know, we're talking to a couple, so we're just trying to figure out which one we're going to go with. And that was a really fun movie. It's got Felissa Rose in it, and Dave Sheridan, who was, you know, played Deputy Doofy in Scary Movie, and Hannah Freeman. If I'm mispronouncing your name, Hannah, I'm so sorry. I'm tired. But that's another one that's already in the can, and we're just waiting for distribution.
Nice, man. Nice.
And then I've got a couple that we're going to be announcing in Cannes.
And of course, to find out, we got to follow you, right, on social media. So for those watching,
it's Jeffrey A. Reddick on Instagram is probably the best place, and then X. You know, those are the two that I'm on the most. So.
Let me ask you, because I'm actually a moderator in a group page for Freddy Krueger. It's 96,000 strong, man. So we got a big following. And you mentioned Nightmare on Elm Street earlier. I mean, as far as influence. So, I mean, where would you rate Nightmare on Elm Street compared to, say, Friday the 13th, Halloween?
I mean, Nightmare on Elm Street is my favorite movie. So, and for several reasons, it was the first time, like, it was marketed as fantasy horror, so it was a different kind of horror film. Like, I'd never seen anything like that on screen. You know, Freddy was terrifying. Each set piece was like amazing. And Heather Langenkamp, who played Nancy, like her character for me, and it's not about acting. Like I'm not dissing Jamie Lee Curtis or any of the other final girls that are famous, but her character, Wes Craven wrote such a strong character. Like, so it wasn't like most final girls up until that movie. They just happened to be the one, you know, who's maybe the most innocent, and they found all their friends' bodies and then finally killed the killer. And in Nightmare on Elm Street, like Nancy, like started investigating, you know, started researching. She
Yeah.
booby trapped the house, went after Fred. So, like it was, and also that movie is what got me connected with New Line Cinema.
Oh, nice.
Because they produced it. So I reached out to Bob Shea with an idea when I was like 14, a 14-year-old hillbilly living in the middle of Kentucky. Didn't know anything about movies. So I wrote him with a prequel idea, and we ended up staying in touch, me and his assistant, Joy Mann.
Wow, man.
And so from 14 to 19, I stayed in touch with them, and I moved to New York when I was 19, and I got an internship at New Line, and they ended up making Final Destination. So not only was that movie like super creatively impactful, because that's why most of my stuff is supernatural horror. I just love that genre, but I can't separate. It's not that I can't separate it, but it had such an impact on me as far as being an amazing movie. I got to meet I've got to meet all the people in it, just amazing. You grow up and then you get to meet your heroes.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's what I'm doing now, man. I admire you, brother. So it's definitely a pleasure.
And so that one, is just my favorite.
And let me ask you, earlier you had mentioned you had the idea for Final Destination. How long was it from you being on that flight to you actually finishing the script?
It was a stretch because originally I had the idea, because the idea didn't come to me immediately. It was something that percolated for a while, and then I was trying to get a TV agent, and so back in the day they're like, you need to write something for a hit TV show.
Yeah.
So I love the X-Files, so I used that setup for an X-Files script, with Scully's brother Charles having the premonition, and I didn't send it to the X-Files. I know it's like online. It's like it was sent to the. I never sent it in. That's what I was going to ask you. Yeah, no, I never sent it in because my one of my friends, Mark Kaufman at New Line, was like, "This is a great idea for a feature. Like you should develop it as a feature." Nice. So I think that happened in '95. I took the idea to Craig Perry and Warren Zide and Chris Bender, and Warren and Craig have been like the consistent producers. Particularly Craig's been like, kind of the godfather of the whole franchise. So we developed it as a treatment, and there was a lot of back and forth because, I didn't have death. I never showed death, and the studio was like, we don't understand how you can make this. So finally, we kind of came to a compromise where I put this angel of death in there. Yeah. But it was just like a shadowy outline kind of that taunted Alex towards the end of the script. And we finally sold this treatment, and I wrote the script. And then I think that happened in 97. The movie came out in 2000. So then James Wong and Glenn Morgan came on, loved their work. And they wrote the shooting script. And then they shot it. Yeah, we were out in 2000, so 3 years, which isn't a long time in studio time. It sounds like a long time, but it actually isn't. Because once they bought it, they fast-tracked it internally. Because sometimes it takes 10 years for a movie to come out from the time you get it set up. So 3 years was not a long time. And then once we saw how well it was doing, like I knew internally, like they were going to do a sequel, so I started working on the sequel story like right away.
Nice, man. No, yeah, for sure, man. I mean, you definitely had a winner. Now, as far as your relations with the film now, what is that? I mean, do you have a say as far as?
You know what? I don't really. I don't get involved like really in it. I've kept great relationships, obviously, with the producers and the executives on the project. I became really good friends with Eric Gress and J. Mackey Gruber, who worked on the second one. Nice. David Ellis, who was amazing, and he did the second and fifth one. Right. So I definitely talked to Craig a lot, and we bounced ideas back and forth. Nice. So like he'll tell me like stuff they're thinking and like directions they're thinking about. And then with this last one, we just got an A-team together. Like John Watts, who did the Spider-Man movies, came up with the story. And Laura Evans Taylor and Guy Busick wrote the script, and they did the Scream movies. And Adam Stein and Zach Levinsky, who did this amazing indie film called Freaks, they're directing it. So I got to talk to all of them before they started working on the film, and they're just amazing people. And the thing is, they grew up loving the movies, so that's why I think that. We've been very fortunate. Like nobody in any of the sequels has ever been like, oh, this is just I'm just taking this as a cash grab job,
yeah.
Because James and Glenn worked on the first one and the third one. Eric Bress worked on the second one and the fifth one.
Right.
David Ellis worked on the second one and the fifth one, and so they've kind of, we've always just been lucky to have fans.
Nice. No, yeah, and I mean, it's a good thing you mentioned. I mean, it's not a cash grab because I mean, obviously, you guys, everybody involved loves this movie.
Yeah,
loves the franchise.
Yeah.
It keeps growing. Question: San Antonio. Was this the first time you've been here?
This is my first time. Yeah.
Okay, and are you going to be able to hang out, or are you flying back to Dallas after this?
I'm from Los Angeles. I'm flying back. I'm flying back to LA in the morning.
Okay, so you're going home. Okay,
yeah.
I thought you were going back to Dallas for some reason.
No.
Okay, gotcha.
Just because the screening took place there. No, I really had wanted to go. See, I've been to Dallas because that's where we shot the shot the film. But and I've been to Austin, but I haven't been to San Antonio. So.
Oh, okay, cool, man. Well, I mean, I'm from here, born and raised, man. I mean, it's growing. I mean, I think about 30% of California moved here past years, but it's still growing, man. It's a big city.
Yeah.
Of course,
No, I've had people that have moved here and they love it, and every time I come down here, again, just it's also. It reminds me of Kentucky. Like, people are just very nice.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of camaraderie. Everybody's respectful for the most part. But
so I really
do all that.
Really had a good time.
No. And last question, my man. Can you escape death?
I think yes, you can. I think if you, and if I'm being practical, I think if you trust your gut, you always have to trust your gut on things, which is kind of like looking for signs. I think you can cheat death and a lot of times prolong your life. Yeah. Because that's really what it's about. And that's what I've always wanted the movies to be about. It's like, life is precious, so enjoy the time that you're here, but in practical reality, like a lot of times, like people who've gotten really bad situations where like, I had a bad feeling going into this and I should have listened to my gut.
Oh, yeah.
With your health, it's very important. I think like
True.
A lot of people will wait way too long to go to a doctor about something, and like my mom was sick and they just told her it was old age, and all the doctors kind of wrote it off, and she kind of fate-ish kind of karma, God intervening. But one of her friends was like just watching a game show at home and saw this local doctor pop up on the news, and she just had a feeling, and she wrote down the doctor's number, and they found a tumor growing on her spine.
Oh, wow.
And this was like a small country doctor, and she'd been to all these big doctors, and they just wrote her off, so they weren't listening. So I do, like I said, it's cheating death, because if she hadn't have found that tumor, the doctor's like, you'd have died in 3 months if we hadn't have found this. So her friend, seeing that doctor, my mom insisting that it wasn't just like arthritis or old age.
Right.
I think you can.
Nice, man. Well, I mean, like you said, I mean, definitely trust your gut. I mean, your first instinct. I mean, I go by that because there's a lot of times where I'm like, I don't feel good about this, and I won't do it. But yes, so we can't cheat death, and of course, this is why this film keeps popping up, keeps coming back, man. So
and I think the goal is always, the movies are fun. This one is like so fun and scary and bloody. It's just a really good roller coaster ride, but it's also just smart, and because it's dealing with the family, there's an emotional heft to it, and also we were able to bring Tony Todd, back for his final performance, and he's just been such an amazing friend to me, and just such a icon in the business, and such a great person.
Oh yeah, I mean, he's been in tons of horror roles, but he's been in tons of films.
Yeah,
I mean, the guy's definitely a great actor. May he continue to rest in peace.
Yeah,
definitely be missed, man.
Absolutely.
But Jeffrey Reddick, my man, I appreciate this time. Thank you, and I hope you come back to San Antonio and hang out sometime.
Oh, if they'll have me, I'll come back.
There you go, everybody out there. Of course, once again, Spider Coming Soon podcast. Till next time, follow up.
All right, take care.